Asher was quiet throughout the ride and, judging from his mood, nobody disturbed him. Amelia occasionally chatted with Livia, but the overall ride was silent. Their cars stopped in a forest-looking area, and everyone got out of their cars. "Young master, we need to walk from here, inside this forest to reach the gate," Emmy informed Asher. "Lead the way," Asher told Emmy. Amelia and the twins followed Asher into the forest, surrounded by the security team to prevent any danger from approaching them. After a 5-minute walk, they arrived in the middle of a patch of grassland. A blue gate, standing 2 meters tall, could be seen there, and many people wearing black suits surrounded it. They were officials of the World Association. If a new dungeon was found, the World Association had to be informed. Only established guilds could claim the dungeons for their own, and this was the case for Asher. Although he had registered it under his company Aztec, his name was enough to deter the World Association from claiming it. "Oh, it seems someone from the Greville has arrived," one of the officials noticed the security team checking the location, which meant that Asher was near the gate. "Just get the paperwork done. We can't claim this dungeon anyway," one of the officials said, while he yawned. Asher arrived and saw some people in black suits. "Nice to meet you, Herr Greville," one of the men stepped forward, offering a handshake to Asher. "Get done with it," Asher ignored him and ordered Emmy, who nodded at his commands. "What the hell," one of the officials nearly said out loud but stopped, considering whom he was standing against. "Haha, we will not waste your time. You can access this dungeon, and it is now your responsibility to handle everything regarding this dungeon," the official said. Ads by Pub Future. Claiming the dungeon meant that Asher would need to manage the dungeon completely, even in the case of a dungeon breakout, contemporary romance. "Take the team. Our work here is done," the man said, taking his team with him. They were B-rank hunters, so they left the forest quickly. "What an arrogant brat. Without his family backing, he is nothing," one of the upset men said as they were leaving the forest. "Be mindful of what you speak here. He is famous for being cold. You are not from Soren, so you might not know it," the man said as they left the forest. Asher was standing in front of the blue gate, and he waited for Amelia and the twins to ready their weapons. Lucas had a dagger for emergencies, and Livia was carrying a greatsword, which she could hold despite her small height. Amelia wore a nano armor bracelet because she was an augmenter. An augmenter was a type of mage who would assist or amplify the abilities of their allies. Comprehending augmentation spells required talent, and only those with talent could even learn the basic augmentation spells. Amelia was such an individual. During her learning phase of being a mage, she found out that she had a talent for being an augmenter, so she decided to follow this path. An augmenter was a rare talent, and such people were always scouted by the World Association or the top guilds. "Emmy, wait here, and don't enter unless someone triggers the safety bracelet," Asher told Emmy, who nodded towards him. The safety bracelet was a defensive artifact that would signal their team outside in the event of a life-threatening situation. It acted as a barrier that would activate if a critical attack hit either of them, holding out until Emmy and her team could arrive to help. However, Asher didn't need it, he only wore it because Sylvie wouldn't let him enter without it. Dungeons were unpredictable spaces and anything could happen inside. Being naive or careless could result in death in an instant. Sylvie, as a member of a powerful family, knew that preventing her children from experiencing and fighting in such environments would stifle their growth, as the world only respected the strong. "Follow me," Asher signaled to Amelia and the twins as he stepped into the gate and disappeared into it. This surprised the twins, who were witnessing it for the first time. "Come on, guys. We should go in," Amelia stepped in, along with the twins. Upon entering, they found themselves in a place resembling bare mountain paths with multiple caves in sight. This was an explorable type of dungeon where the dungeon boss was hidden and needed to be found before reaching the dungeon altar. The twins were feeling disoriented from the teleportation and took some time to recover before noticing the dry atmosphere around them. They saw Asher standing a bit ahead, staring at the cave entrances. "It seems we need to go into those caves to find the monsters," Asher said, turning back to the group. "We'll enter the first cave. Follow far behind me and let me assess the situation first." Asher's face was expressionless, but his orders were clear. The three of them nodded in agreement. They walked on the rocky, sandy path and arrived at a cave lit by glowing stones in the walls. "Wow, so beautiful," Livia was stunned by the sight of blue stones glowing around her. The light from the stones allowed them to see inside the cave. "Are those mana stones?" Amelia asked, also observing her surroundings. "Seems like it. Stay alert for any ambushes," Asher said as they moved deeper into the dungeon. Suddenly, Asher stopped and signaled for the others to stop as well. They approached to see what was ahead and saw monsters with big saw-teeth jaws munching on rocks. These monsters were called Rockators and were F rank. They had brown horns on their head, were slumped over, but their strength and various attacks made them a tough opponent for new hunters. Asher drew his sword and channeled mana inside his body. Seeing him unsheath his sword, Amelia and the twins stepped back to give him room to fight. Amelia wanted to help, but Asher had already told her not to in the car, so she stepped close to the twins to protect them in case of an emergency. Asher charged forward and immediately beheaded the Rockator, who reacted too late to his presence. Blue blood flowed from its neck as its dead body hit the ground. The Rockators were brown-furred, stood as tall as an adult human, but their slumped-over appearance made them look smaller. They had sharp claws and teeth, which helped them survive in their environment. "Greg!" A creepy sound echoed through the cave as four Rockators approached Asher. With their sharp hearing, they sense the commotion outside. Asher sees four brown-furred monsters coming towards him. Despite their scary appearance, Livia takes a small step back but composes herself and looks at Asher, who remains calm even with four monsters approaching. Amelia panics as Asher doesn't move, and starts to form a fireball around her hand. But she stops when she sees Asher move his sword in a left-to-right curve. The action confuses the three of them, leaving them wondering what he's doing. Asher watches the four Rockators rush towards him in the bright bluish light that illuminates the dark cave. He's trying to recreate a new sword style in his current fight. He waits until the four monsters get within his range of 5 meters and dashes towards them, delivering a slash to their stomach regions and causing the beasts to grovel in pain. TSK, Asher is annoyed that he couldn't perform the style the way he wanted. But to the other three, his performance is truly excellent. It's rare for an F-rank human to defeat similar rank monsters so easily. Furthermore, Asher's calm and composed aura makes him look cool in the eyes of Lucas, who watched him with attention. He immediately sliced the head of the Rockators, ending their life. He looked at the three who were watching him. "Defeat the next Rockator I bring here and exit the dungeon," Asher said as he turned around. "What, so soon?" Amelia was confused as to why he suddenly wanted them gone, but his earlier warning was fresh in her mind, so she did not create a fuss here. Asher knew that he couldn't waste any more time. He needed to go all out and Amelia was a problem, so he decided to send them out after their first kill. "Get ready. I'll bait one here," Asher said as he moved deeper into the cave. The cave wasn't straight, which resulted in multiple blind spots where someone could hide. Asher was using his mana to coat his feet, allowing him to move quickly and nullify the sounds he made. He saw a rock-eater alone, munching on rocks, but luring it would also attract the attention of the other rock-eaters. He needed to lure the rock-eater without alerting nearby monsters. Woo! Asher took a deep breath and quickly dashed past the rock-eater. The rock-eater saw Asher and immediately became alert. It turned to see him standing in front of it, sword touching the ground, with crimson-red eyes staring down at the monster. Asher released his intense killing intent, intimidating the rock-eater. The monster was overwhelmed by Asher's presence and decided to retreat from the way Asher had come. Rock Eaters had low intelligence and only acted on instinct, which was telling them to run away. Will he be fine? Lucas asked Amelia. I don't know, but he has a safety device, so even if he encounters anything beyond his level, he'll be fine. But he could still get injured, Amelia explained to Lucas. They were waiting for Asher to lure a rock eater back to their location. Wait, I see a monster. Look there. Livia pointed at a rock eater running towards them. Get ready, guys. Try to defeat it. Amelia immediately took a proper stance, and the twins also got ready. Lucas, I'll try to stop it. Livia took her greatsword and approached the rock eater. Although she was scared, she wanted to help Lucas and bear his burdens with him. Her determination overcame her fear. The rock eater used its claws against Livia as she approached. She dodged to the right and made a wide swing with her sword, but it was slow enough for the rock eater to dodge it. Greg, the rock eater growled as drool dripped from its sharp teeth. It was angry at Livia for stopping its escape, and Asher's killing intent had triggered its beastly instincts. Fireball. Lucas completed his chant and a small ball of fire shot out, burning part of the rock eater's shoulder. It turned to look at Lucas. Taking advantage of the distracted rock eater, Livia used her sword to make a cut on its leg. Blue blood poured out as she took a chunk of flesh. Lucas cast another fireball, making the rock eater retreat from Livia. With this spell, I implore, grant strength. Amelia started a chant and Livia felt her strength double. Thank you, sis. Livia shouted and made another swing at the growling rock eater. Her speed was the same, but every swing was doing significant damage to the monster. Lucas was casting fireballs, but he was tired and felt like he was almost out of mana. Contemporary romance. Livia, this is the last one I can throw, Lucas said as another fireball landed on the rock eater, who was now covered in wounds and burn marks. However, it was still afraid to return to the cave, feeling threatened by Asher. Livia was breathing heavily, having used a lot of her stamina to dodge the rock eater. She swung her weapon in a wide slash and made a cut in the creature's gut, causing it to fall to the ground with a thud. She had finally defeated the rock eater, but immediately fell, feeling tired. Livia. Amelia rushed to support her, picking her up. Lucas, I did it. Livia muttered, too tired to stand. The adrenaline rush from earlier was gone. I can see, Lucas replied, smiling, despite being tired himself. Clap clap. Asher appeared and the three of them turned to face him. Well done, he said, and Lucas was happy to receive praise from Asher. Amelia, take them out of the dungeon as they can't fight anymore. Tell Emmy that I will explore the dungeon further, Asher said to Amelia. But you might get injured. I can come with you, Amelia started to say, but Asher interrupted her. It would be a waste of the training I did last month, he said with his indifferent face, and then he left the group. Okay, fine, Amelia said, frustrated but deciding not to pursue the matter further. She activated her safety bracelet, and Emmy and some other guards arrived a few seconds later. Emmy, can you help take the twins out? Amelia asked Emmy. What about the young master? Emmy asked, looking around for Asher. He said he wants to explore more, Amelia replied, feeling a bit angry but deciding to let it go. Okay, Emmy nodded, and picked up Livia, while another guard helped Lucas. They then exited through the portal. Meanwhile, Asher was standing in front of multiple rocketers, as the commotion had caused several of them to come out from the depths of the cave. Grerog, Ardgr, time for some fun, Asher cracked his neck, as he faced the multiple black-furred monsters with huge claws coming towards him. He took a deep breath and used his movements to avoid the first two rocketers and cut the limbs of the one on his left. He didn't stop and dodged every claw attack of the rocketers. He wasn't using mana to strengthen his body because he didn't want to waste it too soon. Gregor, a rocketer roared as he jumped towards him. Asher had already swung towards his left, leaving his back open. He sensed the rocketer behind him and he concentrated on his sword. Phantom slash, he muttered as his sword turned midway through his slash, penetrating the heart of the rocketer that had just pounced on him. He had replicated a downgraded version of Nathan's phantom swing, but it was enough for an F-rank monster. His eyes were sharp as he dodged multiple rocketers. He needed to make sure he was always out of range of their claws, which were sharp enough to pierce rocks. He could only block at most 2 rocketers at the same time. Slash. His sword easily penetrated their bodies, creating large cuts. His sword was smeared with the blue blood from the rocketers as he detached the limbs of the rocketers, taking away their only weapon. He was fighting rocketers from all directions, and his sword was moving fast as he killed many of them. Fighting like this required focus as he was dodging and reading the movements of the rocketers at the same time. Slowing down would only make him an easier target for the group to attack. He finally used mana to dodge their attacks and sliced the head of the nearest rocketer. Only 2 rocketers were left, and Asher quickly dashed and cut them in half with a wide arc of his slash. He swung his sword to remove the blue blood on it, but didn't bother cleaning himself as he would clear more caves after this one. Let's use my ability on this one, he thought, as these rocketers were mid-F rank monsters and he was sure their strength was a bit higher than his. He crouched and touched the chest of the rocketer he killed. Absorb, he said, as a reddish mana enveloped his hand. And the rocketer. He felt his strength increasing. Less than host has absorbed strength plus 1 greater than. He saw the notification and smirked. After the notification, the red mana around the dead body was gone. So, I can only get this much. He wondered, as the reddish mana was now gone. He put his hands on another rocketer. Absorb. He tried it once more. Warning. Ability under cooldown. 59:47. So I can only get this much from these monsters, he realized. He knew because of the cooldown period, he should time this ability for when he fought the boss of the dungeon. After his experiment, he moved to the end of the cave, killing a few more rocketers. This dungeon had multiple caves, but he was only after the Mana Stone cave where the boss was. Although he would still clear other caves to test his swordmanship, they were not his goals. The glowing stones in the caves were low-quality mana stones, and the mana inside them wasn't enough to sell them as mana stones. This was why Emmy and Amelia didn't react much when they entered the dungeon. Only Asher knew that this dungeon was a gold mine, and he intended to capitalize on it. Asher exited the cave and gazed upon the 10 additional entrances in sight. He knew that one of them was the cave he was searching for, but he could only enter and determine which one it was. Let's quickly find the boss. Asher stepped into another cave as he muttered those words. Asher had ignored several notifications before, so he decided to look at his harvest till now. Ding ding. Less than host has acquired 200 express greater than. Less than host has acquired 200 express greater than. Less than host has acquired. Greater than. Status. Asher said, skipping past multiple notifications. Fate Devourer System. Name, Asher von Ravengrevel. Level, 7, EXP 3000, 7000. Bloodline, Devil's Absorption Rank SSS. Blessing, Goddess of Time, Sealed. Body Constitution, Mana Core Rank A. Shop Quests, Synthesis. Attributes. Strength, 45. Agility, 30. Endurance, 50. Intelligence, 105. Mana, 66. Stamina, 47. Charm, 60. Contemporary Romance. Fate, 6730. AP, 30. SP, 12. Skills, Time Dilution, Rank S, LVL1. Absorption, Rank S, LVL1. Ash Sword Art, Rank C. Mana Flow, Rank C. Mana Circulation, Rank A. Rune of Airden, Rank A. 3000 Hum. Asher saw that he had gained 3000 XP for all the rocketers he had killed till now. It seemed that F-rank monsters only gave him around 200 express. I can farm more, he thought as he entered the second cave. It was filled with normal mana glowstones, but it wasn't the cave where the mana stone mine was located. This cave wasn't as deep as the previous one. Not this one, he muttered, but he still went in to clear it. Munch munch. The sounds of rocketers eating the rocks echoed throughout the cave. Asher saw two peak F-rank rocketers who turned their dark black eyes toward his directions. These two were peak F-rank rocketers and their eyes were their distinctive features. Mid F-rank rocketers did not have a fully black eye. Slash. Ads by Pub Future. With a swift dash and slash, he cut one rocketer in half and then crouched to slash the stomach of the other. Although his fighting style appeared cruel, it was what made him so dangerous. Less than host has acquired 200 express greater than. Less than host has acquired 200 express greater than. Asher received 200 XP for each rocketer he defeated. Despite using some of his mana for his dash and attack, his mana flow skill reduced the mana usage and maximized output. Girgirgirgirgd. Grojrhgnieg. Hearing the sounds of his sword and commotion he made, nearby rocketers started coming out towards his direction. Let's finish this quickly, Asher said, as he bended his knee before he dashed further inside. Using the mana circulation technique during all this required lot of focus and Asher was still adapting to it. His sword moved like a wave and as he kept killing the rocketers that appeared. The rocketers only had sharp claws and teeth as weapons, making them easy targets for Asher. Less than host has acquired 200 express greater than. Less than host has acquired 200 express greater than. Less than host has acquired 200 express greater than. Asher received multiple notifications for the XP he acquired, but he ignored them as he focused on his movements. He quickly cleared out this cave and moved to the next one, which was a bit far from this cave, and this one was also not the one he was looking for. Asher still went inside to kill a few F+ and F rank rocketers that were present in there. He didn't bother putting their corpses into his storage ring, as the guards outside the portal could handle it. Less than host has acquired 200 express greater than. Less than host has leveled up greater than. Less than host has acquired 200 express greater than. Less than host has acquired 200 express greater than. Less than host has leveled up greater than. Less than host has acquired 200 express greater than. Less than host has acquired 200 express greater than. In about 55 minutes, Asher had cleared 8 caves and killed over 100 rocketers. He was now resting on a rock outside the 9th cave he was about to enter. Some of the previous caves had 10 or fewer rocketers scattered deeply, so Asher had to spend some of his mana and time to find them. Although he could have easily skipped them, he had a completionist mindset and didn't like leaving things unfinished. If he started something, he made sure to complete it fully. Gulp. Asher drank some energy drinks from his storage ring. Although he could have used a mana potion to instantly regain his lost mana, he preferred doing it through the new mana circulation technique that Nathan had taught him. With plenty of time and no rush, a simple rest was preferable for him. Status, Asher said, as he stored the energy drinks back into his ring. Fate Devourer System. Name, Asher von Ravengrevel. Level, 9, EXP 8000, 9000. Bloodline, Devil's Absorption Rank SSS. Blessing, Goddess of Time, Sealed. Body Constitution, Mana Core Rank A. Shop Quests, Synthesis. Attributes. Strength, 45. Agility, 30. Endurance, 50. Intelligence, 105. Mana, 66. Stamina, 47. Charm, 60. Fate, 6730. AP, 40. SP, 16. Skills, Time Dilution, Rank S, LVL1. Absorption, Rank S, LVL1. Ash Sword Art, Rank C. Mana Flow, Rank C. Mana Circulation, Rank A. Rune of Aearden, Rank A. Level 10 is not too far, Asher said as he jumped off the rock and looked at the entrance of the ninth cave. He stretched his legs and cracked his neck and went inside. Found it. Asher looked around and saw various pathways that went somewhere deep into the cave. This cave had many mana crystals which were refined into mana stones for commercial use. The entrance was dark, but after going a bit inside, he could see brightly glowing mana crystals which were hanging on the ceilings, to the side of the walls. He went into the centermost path and noticed the glowing mana crystals around him. This was the gold mine that previously was in the hands of the Williams family, but now he was possessing it. Preventing Nathan's death and preventing the economic downfall of the Greville family completely changed how the events played out in the previous timeline. Asher walked in for 10 more minutes as this cave was very vast. Not a single rocketer was present here. It was because the dungeon boss was present in this cave. From their nature, rocketer avoided the strongest among them, that was the boss of this dungeon, and no rocketer would be present in his territory. He arrived at another junction in the cave where every paths that he found at the entrance seemed to meet. He saw a single entrance in front of him and he knew that this was where the boss and dungeon altar would be present. Dungeon altar was where the first clear reward of dungeon was present. It could be an item or artifacts, but low-rank dungeons did not give any worthwhile items or artifacts. Only rank A dungeons were the one where decent or auctionable artifacts were found. Greg, a creepy noise could be heard as Asher went in. As Asher cautiously crept deeper into the cave, his face was indifferent and his focus was high. The towering walls seemed to close in on him, and the eerie silence was only interrupted by the soft crunching of his footsteps on the jagged stone floor. Suddenly, a putrid stench filled the air, and Asher's grip on his sword tightened as he prepared for the inevitable confrontation. In the distance, he saw a massive silhouette, its blue glowing eyes piercing the darkness like beacons. As he drew closer, the full terror of the situation became clear. There, in the center of the cavernous arena, sat a 3-foot-tall monster, its brown fur bristling, its sharp claws clacking together hungrily. The rocketer boss was ravenously devouring the sparkling mana crystals scattered about it, its razor-sharp teeth crunching loudly in the stillness. The rocketer boss was an A+ rank boss monster, more powerful than Asher, who was currently at F rank and close to achieving F rank. The creature's gaze met Asher's, and the air was filled with a deafening growl as it rose to its full height. Roar! The boss monster roared loudly and launched a claw strike towards Asher. Asher sidestepped and made a cut on the rocketer boss's hand. The boss groaned in pain, but Asher did not give him enough time and attacked again, focusing on using his new sword style to move around the boss. Due to the height difference, Asher had an easier time dodging the boss, but the damage he was doing was still not enough to stagger the boss. Agar-gurg-gurg, the boss growled and struck at Asher with his claws. Bam! Asher dodged the attack and the claws made a massive sound as they clashed with the walls. Asher swiftly moved around the boss and slashed a few more times, using the boss as an experiment to hone his sword skills. The boss was enraged, and his eyes were shining red. He picked up chunks of rock and started throwing them at Asher, who was running all over the place dodging them. The rocketer boss's mana enveloped his claws, increasing his speed. Asher used his sword to deflect the rocks, but the boss threw another rock at him. Asher used it as a smokescreen and dashed past its trajectory, using a burst of mana around his legs. The boss was surprised to see Asher close to his chest region. The rocketer boss was moving his claws to strike Asher, but Asher was already near his chest. Pierce! Asher muttered as a small coating of mana enveloped his sword, piercing the chest of the rocketer boss. He immediately dragged the sword diagonally, cutting the head of the boss into 2 pieces. Less than host has acquired 1000 express greater than. Less than host has leveled up greater than. Congratulations, host has finally reached level 10. Unlocking. Asher didn't notice it, but a small green orb appeared behind him and was absorbed into his nape. Too many notifications appeared at the same time, making it difficult for him to see which notification was saying what. Unlocking shop. Closing square bracket. Unlocking synthesis. Closing square bracket. Activating system storage access. Closing square bracket. System calibration started. Wait time less than 0 hours 9 minutes and 59 seconds greater than. Let's check this boss, Asher decided. Seeing that his system needed 10 minutes. To calibrate everything, he decided to check out the boss's corpse. The ground around the boss was covered in a thick blue liquid. Asher ignored the gory scene and crouched down to touch the body of the boss. The system is offline, but will this work? Asher wondered. Absorb, he thought, and red mana covered his arm, stretching out to cover the boss's dead body. Asher felt his strength increase, but without the system, he had no way of knowing how many stats he had gained. He was sure that his current stats were less than what the boss had, but based on his earlier use of his bloodline ability, he knew that he could only absorb a portion of their stats. Rocketers were known for their strength, and the fact that he only got one strength stat meant that either he could only absorb a portion of their stats or he needed to upgrade his bloodline ability to increase the amount. Asher got up and put the boss's corpse into his storage ring. He didn't want to leave any evidence of his bloodline usage, and he could just tell Emmy that he took it as a trophy. He also took the corpse of the F-rank rocketer that he used his bloodline ability on. Let's check out the altar of this dungeon, Asher said, moving further into the cave. He could see some pedestals leading to a tray where a pendant was visible. This section of the dungeon was called the dungeon altar, and there was always a reward whenever a new dungeon appeared. Although nobody knew the intention behind the structure of these dungeons. Asher wondered why these dungeons were made this way and who structured them, just like many others. Step. Asher moved forward, and the sound of his steps echoed in the empty space around him. He arrived in front of a rocky slate where the pendant was visible. The pendant had a brown-colored chain with a silver-colored centerpiece of a unique design. One could see small runes on the centerpiece. These runes were used to preserve things and identify the artifact's purpose, discovered by runemasters who studied them hundreds of years ago. Asher picked up the pendant and looked at it. Let's wait for the system calibration, he said. He could use the system, or, like many people in this world, have it appraised by a runemaster, and they were called appraisers. Many powerful families made their own children study runes so they could appraise it themselves. Let's clear the last cave, he said. There were still about 8 minutes left, so he decided to clear the last cave as well. He quickly left, using his mana to enhance his speed. Asher's method of enhancing himself was different from augmenters like Amelia. In the early phases, it may seem like he was better than augmenters who needed chance to cast buffs, but augmenters were more complex than that. Asher was using his mana flow skill to actively slightly stimulate his mana veins, which he knew was safe for him unless he went overboard. This was one of the methods he devised to increase his power, but now he was carefully maintaining the amount of mana he was forcing through his veins. His newly constructed mana veins, after he got his new bloodline, were capable of handling that much. He arrived at the last cave, but he was a bit surprised to see it. How is this possible? Asher spoke, as he looked around. This cave was also filled with mana crystals, just like the previous one. He was surprised because the amount that the Williams provided in the market only amounted to the previous, which was quite huge. If they had this many mana crystals, it would not make sense for them to hoard it and not distribute it. Is something wrong with this cave? Asher went deeper into the cave. Unlike his suspicions, this cave was totally normal. This also confirmed that, for some reason, the Williams family never sold this batch of mana crystals to the market. He looked around a bit more and used his mana sense to sense if everything was right, although using his mana sense at his level took a toll on his body and mind. He bore with it, as he believed that harming himself a bit was better than getting into unknown troubles later. Everything is normal, Asher said, as a frown appeared on his indifferent face. He had a lot of knowledge of the inner workings and deals that happened after the downfall of the Greville family, but he never knew anything regarding this. Did they trade it secretly? Asher pondered. This was the only possibility as to why this many mana crystals never made it into the market. But who? He was thinking hard because this one anomaly could become an obstacle in his plans in the future. And he could not investigate the Williams either. This course of history was changed by him, and now he had no way of knowing the secret buyer. Well, when we release these in the market, the secret buyer will come to light. Asher's crimson red eyes shone as the atmosphere grew heavy around him. System calibration completed. Features available now. System inventory is not accessible less than fate points requirement failed greater than. Host has gained +1 strength stat. Host has gained +5 endurance stat. The system gave him the notifications about his gains from using his bloodline ability earlier. Status, Asher muttered. Fate Devourer System. Name, Asher von Raven Greville. Level 10, EXP 0, 10,000. Bloodline, Devil's Absorption Rank SSS. Blessing, Goddess of Time, Sealed. Body Constitution, Mana Core Rank A. Shop Quests, Synthesis. Attributes. Strength, 45 + 10. Agility, 30. Endurance, 50 + 5. Intelligence, 105. Mana, 66. Stamina, 47. Charm, 60. Fate, 6730. AP, 40. SP, 16. Skills, Time Dilution, Rank S, LVL1. Absorption, Rank S, LVL1. Ash Sword Art, Rank C. Mana Flow, Rank C. Mana Circulation, Rank A. Rune of Airden, Rank A. Shop function is open. Synthesis is now functional. Detecting a new sword style. Closing square bracket. Synthesis possible. Closing square bracket. Does the host want to merge the two styles, creating a new one? Closing square bracket. How will this merge work? Asher asked the system. The host will gain insights into a completely new style of sword, a mixture of their own knowledge and the rune of Airden, utilizing hidden features of the system. Closing square bracket. The host will gain knowledge of the sword art, but they will need to practice and increase its mastery themselves. This cannot be increased using skill points, as a whole new, unique style will be created, contemporary romance. Does the host wish to continue? Closing square bracket. Do it. Asher knew his choice. He could always use his existing sword art, but having a more powerful one was something he would not regret. Unlike his bloodline, this was not a random roll where he could get a wasteful one. Synthesis. Starting. Closing square bracket. Type. Sword arts, merging existing arts. Calibrating with I. And Rune of Airden. Asher groaned a bit as his head started hurting from all the information he was gaining. It was a similar but different feeling from the knowledge he got from the Rune of Airden. He was in a trance-like state, and his mind drifted through many thoughts during this. A notification brought him out of it. Node Art Rank SSS formed, type evolvable. As the system was performing the calibration, Asher felt the birth of this new sword art. It was like reading a blurred text and he could barely understand what it could do, but he felt the power behind it. In his mind, a flood of unknown information was flowing in. Asher, who was in a trance-like state, couldn't even see the notifications of the system anymore. Starting influx. Closing square bracket. Protecting host's mental capacity. Closing square bracket. Temporary increase of intelligence. Intelligence +500. Opening square bracket ? Resonating. Warning. Closing square bracket. Sealing host's mana, activating the blessing. Meanwhile, Asher felt what this new sword art was all about. Although he saw the beginning of this art, he couldn't see the end. He felt as if he was walking on an endless bridge, and all around him were different scriptures of this art. Every step he took, more scriptures appeared on his sides. He felt as if he could walk his entire life, seeing all of this, but as he was walking, he felt a sudden pull. He wanted to resist it, but he couldn't go against it. Formation complete. Closing square bracket. Sealing the blessing. Closing square bracket. Reversing stats. Closing square bracket. Unsealing the mana. Closing square bracket. Asher groaned as he opened his eyes. Node Art rank SSS formed, type evolvable. Seeing the notification, he remembered why he was like this. His mind was puzzled, but he quickly regained his composure and stood up. Congratulations to the host for obtaining a new sword art. Closing square bracket. Warning. Closing square bracket. Opening square bracket ? Sealing the system. 1%. Blessing activated. Closing square bracket. What is happening? Asher was startled by the multiple notifications. System. Asher called out, but he didn't receive a response from his system. Status, he said, but again, nothing happened. Although his mind was still a bit hazy from the previous trance-like state, the sudden event caught him off guard. He had no idea what was happening, but before he could think about it, a notification appeared in front of him. System operation resuming. Closing square bracket. Warning. Less than shop greater than sealed. Closing square bracket. System. What happened just now? Asher asked the system. His mind was almost clear now. During the formation of the sword art, the system activated the blessing to help the host. This incident was due to that. And as a rebound, some of the features including shop have been sealed. Closing square bracket. Ads by Pub Future. Can you explain more? Asher's voice was cold. He didn't like whatever was going on, and more things were getting out of his control, which irritated him quite a bit. Not enough authority. Host is advised to increase his level. Closing square bracket. Damn it. Asher was annoyed with the same reply. I need this damn authority. Asher's thoughts strayed away when he remembered his new sword art. Let's focus on this for now, he thought. Contemporary romance. Can you explain what the sword art is all about? Asher knew what he had learned, but he remembered being pulled while learning more about this new sword style. The host has gained a rank SSS sword art, but right now it is not at its full potential. Closing square bracket. The system stopped you when you reached the limit of comprehending the sword style. Although you have learned it, your mastery of this new sword art is not present. Closing square bracket. What do you mean by, not present? Asher was confused, as he remembered comprehending the early scriptures of the sword art quite well. Try to perform the sword art as you remember it. Closing square bracket. Listening to the system, Asher closed his eyes to recall what he had learned about this new sword art. However, a frown appeared on his face as all his knowledge seemed blurry to him. This was a strange feeling for him, as he knew it but couldn't recall it at the same time. Why is this happening? Asher questioned, opening his eyes. The knowledge is still incomplete, and your mental capacity is unable to hold all of this knowledge. Closing square bracket. The system has added a new mastery for the sword art, as it has no rank right now. It's an evolvable sword art, and only the host could reveal the limits of the sword art. Closing square bracket. Then why did you rank it as SSS rank? Asher questioned the system. That was the current potential of this art when compared with the existing sword arts of the host. Currently, you will have difficulty increasing its mastery. Closing square bracket. The mastery for the sword begins from fundamental, novice, intermediate, advanced, master, and grandmaster, etc. Closing square bracket. Currently, the host is not even at the novice level. Only by comprehending the sword style can you increase its mastery. Closing square bracket. The system has named it evolvable because even the system cannot see the limits of the sword style. This is something unique that was created by the rune of Airden and your knowledge, combined with some of the hidden features of the system. Closing square bracket. So, the system cannot help the host in any way regarding the sword art. Closing square bracket. Okay, no big deal. Show me about this ability, Asher said. He was fine with learning the art himself, as he knew the base of it and only needed to build upon it. Fate Devourer System. Name, Asher von Ravengrevel. Level 10, EXP 0, 10,000. Bloodline, Devil's Absorption Rank SSS. Blessing, Goddess of Time, Sealed. Body Constitution, Mana Core Rank A. Shop Quests, Synthesis. Attributes. Strength, 55. Agility, 30. Endurance, 55. Intelligence, 105. Mana, 66. Stamina, 47. Charm, 60. Fate, 6730. AP, 45. SP, 18. Skills, Time Dilution, Rank S, LVL1. Absorption, Rank S, LVL1. Mana Flow, Rank C. Mana Circulation, Rank A. Rune of Airden, Rank A. Node Art, Rank SSS. New Sword Art added to skill. Skills, Node Art, Rank SSS. Type, Rank SSS Sword Art, Evolvable. Mastery, None. Penalty, holder of this art will not remember any other sword art. What? Asher was shocked reading the penalty of this new sword art. He tried to recall his previous sword style or the one he was practicing until now, but other than the basic form and footwork, everything was a blank state. System, what is this penalty? A menacing aura started to appear around him. This penalty was not something the system could foresee. Although the host can relax as the sword art is certainly more powerful than your previous one. Closing square bracket. Listening to the system, Asher knew he could not reverse his actions anymore. This art was the trade-off of knowledge he carried with his new rune. He checked about his rune, but apart from his knowledge about the sword art, everything was fine. His memories were intact, and he could even recall all the fights he had, but despite remembering everything about his enemies, his own actions were not recallable. He took his sword in his hands and tried to perform the basic movements, and he could do them perfectly. Even his footwork was flawless, but when he tried to imitate the fights he had, he was unable to do so. It was like he was learning it again, by recalling his memories, but the moment he recalled them, he would forget it again. Let's try this. Asher gave up and accepted that he needed to hone this new sword style as fast as possible, or some of his plans could get thwarted quite easily. Although he was still sure he could beat everyone of his age just by using the basics, but his list of enemies was not limited to people of his age. Asher recalled the knowledge he gained and closed his eyes as he started to swing his sword. A node. He recalled that the first scripture was about finding the nodes which were like small light bulbs present around the target. Connect. The second scripture he saw was about connecting those nodes. Execute. Third scripture he saw depicted a wave-like motion with the sword moving along the connected lines. He opened his eyes, and imagined a rocketer in front of him, and started to duel him. As he swung his sword, a runic pattern appeared in his crimson-red eyes. He could imagine different nodes on the rocketer and around it. He moved his sword along those nodes, but he stopped after doing it once. No wasted movement. Asher was a bit surprised to see that his swing just now did not contain any wasted movement. Although it was difficult for him to maintain this new footwork as he moved the way he needed. Less than fundamental mastery achieved greater than. Asher saw the notification, and just like he thought, replicating and understanding the scriptures he saw was the way forward. This was easy, but the next scriptures are not clear. Asher tried hard remembering them, but every time he tried to do so, it was like he was standing in a dense fog with no way forward. Fundamentals. Asher muttered as he knew he needed to master them perfectly before he could move forward. It was almost like the sword art had a will which did not allow Asher to move forward before he achieved a certain threshold. Asher started swinging his sword around, fighting imaginary enemies. His handling appeared elegant, but it was also more ruthless and accurate than his previous sword art. Although Asher did not remember his previous art, he could still feel the difference between them. He stopped when the mastery stopped increasing. He knew that he needed more time to properly increase it and that he needed to achieve the next level before entering the World Academy. Outside the dungeon, Amelia was chatting with Emmy because Lucas and Livia were still resting in the temporary camp that had been set up for them. "When do you think he will come back?" Amelia asked as she ate a snack. "It's an exploration-type dungeon, so maybe young master will take his time exploring 4 to 5 caves before coming back," Emmy replied. "Really? I mean, he was quite good during the duel, but fighting F-rank monsters would take a toll on him," Amelia said while chewing on her snack. Amelia was quite comfortable with Emmy because, growing up, Emmy filled the spot of an elder sibling for her. She was like a big sister to Amelia, and Emmy would be her choice whenever she needed advice about anything. This was also the reason why Emmy made a blunder of not reporting Amelia coming together with the twins. Her perspective of Amelia was greatly different from Asher's. Young Master defeated around 10 G rank wolves when he was AG rank, and I believe he can do this much after his training, Emmy said proudly. You are quite proud of him, Amelia said as she squinted her eyes a bit. "Of course," Emmy immediately replied. "HMPH, he is just a mean bastard. I can't understand how you and Damien even stay around him all the time," Amelia said annoyingly. "Well, I think young master might act a bit cold and not like others around his age, but..." Emmy was speaking when the safety device made a noise, alerting everyone present. "Everyone, we are going in. Search for young master quickly," Emmy commanded as she dashed towards the dungeon gate. Following her, several guards also disappeared into the dungeon gate. Not all guards followed her as they needed to be there to protect Amelia and the twins, who were still sleeping in their tents. "I hope he is fine," Amelia said as she looked at the dungeon gate. 1 hour ago, inside the dungeon, Asher was still getting comfortable with his new sword art. His movements were getting more refined as he followed the scriptures that he remembered seeing. The penalty is not as strict as I thought," Asher said to himself. Asher knew that he was getting better at the sword art, and completing the first mastery alone would be a great challenge for anybody who was new to swords. This meant that just like he retained his knowledge of basic swordsmanship, he still had his old instincts, which helped him correct his movements several times he imagined battling an enemy. System, will the features that were sealed be unlocked? Asher worded his question in a way that the system could answer him. Host can unlock it, but if the host wants to know anything other than this, you don't have enough authority right now. Closing square bracket. Asher continued his training as he got the answer he needed. It was not that he needed the features that were sealed. He was sure that his own knowledge was enough for him to carry out his plans. But he knew that whatever the system could have offered him would have been quite valuable. He knew that going forward, the future would change a lot, and more variables would appear that could hinder him. "I still cannot remember the next scripture." Asher stopped as he noticed that his mastery would not increase any further than this right now. He needed some time for his mind to stabilize what he had just learned and master it fully to move any further. Getting ripped off of his sword art considerably weakened him. He was a swordsman in his previous life as well, and doping his mana to forcefully increase his ranks made him unable to become a mage. Asher's bloodline ability would have made him a great mage if he had taken a natural path to increase his strength. Asher was currently an F rank and could feel he would soon become an F+ rank. His body was still in the process of consolidating his A rank mana core completely with his body. This was also the reason Asher did not try any mana related techniques that would burden his body. And now, after his new sword art, he was unable to recall them. He also did not learn any mage-related spells because he knew that learning them in the World Academy would be more beneficial for him. During his consolidation period, he could focus on his sword. His knowledge of spells was only limited to some spells which he learned during his stay at the World Academy. Should I try the first method? Asher questioned himself. He vaguely remembered his mana doping methods as they were strongly integrated into his sword art. He wanted to test if he could replicate them now. Also, the fact that his bloodline ability had changed made him question if the new limits he could handle now were lower or higher than before. Asher hesitated for a moment before deciding to try replicating his mana doping methods. He closed his eyes and focused on his mana core, feeling the flow of mana within him. He then tried to manipulate the flow of mana, pushing it beyond its natural limits. As he did so, he felt a surge of power coursing through his body. However, he also felt a sharp pain in his chest, as if his body couldn't handle the strain. He could feel the mana resisting him, not wanting to follow the directions he wanted it to move. This was vastly different from mana circulation techniques because he was forcing the mana to move outside the mana veins, and doing this was the same as injuring someone with a mana-coated dagger. But Asher had found a way to strengthen his body by making his mana veins even stronger after damaging and healing them at the same rate. He was making his core forcefully extract the mana to damage himself, and making sure the mana did not go wild inside his body, carefully maintaining the amount he was forcing outside the mana veins. This meant he was forcefully consolidating his body to his mana, while at the same time trying to strengthen the amount his mana veins could handle by making them go through a process of repairing after injuring them. His first method was not that harmful to him the first time, but repeating this would have damaged his core a little bit, and he could only replicate it because of his passive skill that allowed him a certain amount of mana manipulation inside his body. Warning: host is advised to stop. Asher ignored the system, knowing that this much harm would heal in a month or so completely. This method for the first time would not give him a permanent injury that would not heal. Warning: host is advised to stop. Warning: host is advised to stop. Mana around his body was going rampant, and this made the security bracelet activate itself as the mana it was reading outside the mana veins counted as a critical injury. The one who invented the safety device never considered someone who would harm themselves to such degrees to increase their power. Cough. Asher spurted blood and got on his knees. The rebound he received from this made him feel weak. Cough. It seems that I cannot use this method in my current condition, Asher said as he saw the blood he coughed on the ground. F+ rank. Asher could feel that he had ranked up to the peak of the F rank, and his injuries were not too critical as well. He only did this because currently, his mana core rank was higher than his current rank, and he estimated that he could handle it with his current mana flow skill. But the rebound was more than he expected, and this made him aware that his doping methods would do him more harm than he thought. Status: Asher spoke. Fate Devourer System. Name: Asher von Ravengravel. Level 10, EXP 0, 10,000. Bloodline: Devil's Absorption rank SSS. Blessing: Goddess of Time, sealed. Body Constitution: Mana Core rank A. Shop Quests: Synthesis. Attributes: Strength 55 + 5. Agility 30 + 6. Endurance 55 + 3. Intelligence 105. Mana 66 + 10. Stamina 47 + 8. Charm 60. Fate 6730. AP 45, SP 18. Skills: Time Dilution rank S, LVL1. Absorption rank S, LVL1. Mana Flow rank C. Mana Circulation rank A. Rune of Airden rank A. Node Art rank SSS. He looked at his status, noticing some of his stats had gone up due to him ranking up. He did not get any notification because his mana core was currently at A rank, so the system did not consider it a true rank up for him. Young master. Asher heard a scream, and he knew whose voice it was. He turned his head and saw Emmy, who sensed his mana and immediately appeared in front of him. Emmy stopped as she saw Asher, who was on the ground with blood around his mouth. She was confused how Asher got hurt, but she arrived near him to check his condition first. Contemporary romance. Young master, are you fine? Why are you so deep into this dungeon? Emmy questioned, but she brought a healing potion from her storage ring at the same time. It's fine, I hurt myself trying a new technique that I learned with grandfather, Asher said while his indifferent eyes looked at Emmy. But wait, this cave. Emmy stopped and noticed the cave she was in was surrounded by mana crystals. A mana crystal mine. Emmy was shocked as her eyes looked around her. Her mind was all over the place as too many things were happening at the same time. Asher was too deep into the dungeon and he got hurt in what seemed like an empty cave, and the numerous monster carcasses she saw on the way made her wonder how Asher managed to do it. Yes, and there are 2 caves inside this dungeon. I have already cleared the boss of this dungeon, so tell the guards to make sure nobody enters this dungeon. Asher got up from his place, but he did not take the potion Emmy offered to him. Oh, okay. Wait, what? You cleared the boss. Emmy's eyes widened from the shock as she looked at the indifferent face of Asher, who was clearing the mud off his clothes. I did, and I want to rest now. Take the guards that followed you out of this dungeon. Make sure nobody does anything fishy. Asher moved past her. Okay, Emmy said, but there were many questions in her head. However, it was not her job to ask Asher such things. She knew her limits, and the angry face of Asher was still fresh in her head from when they arrived in the mountain range. In Desmer, inside Astaria household, a couple could be seen sitting on a huge dining table eating together. As the man was eating his food, he heard the voice of his wife. It seems that the Greville and Rothschild will have some confrontation in the near future. A beautiful woman with blonde hair and blue eyes told the man who was sitting on the same table as her. Well, the Greville were getting too powerful, so this would make sure they don't overstep their limits, the man with red hair replied to her. I was thinking that I should tell Alan to befriend the heir of the Greville during his stay at the World Academy, but this event with Rothschild made me reconsider it, the man spoke. Alex. Don't use our son for such purposes, the blonde woman shouted at him. Use that bitch instead. No need to trouble Alan for such things, she spoke. Calm down, Mia. I was just thinking about creating a friendly relationship with the Greville, but I'm reconsidering it myself, the man calmed his wife down. And you know that girl is useless. I mean, her face is hideous enough that it would strain our relationship with the Greville more than better it, the man told her. Whatever, it's your headache, not mine. The woman stood up and walked out of the room. Sigh. The man sighed as he saw his wife leave the table. TSK, this girl is so useless. But Alan befriending that white-haired boy doesn't sound too bad as well, the man said. Well, I have 7 months to think about it. He stood up after he finished the food and left the table as well. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Asher moved out of the cave and looked in the direction where the portal gate was present. He was done with what he wanted to achieve in the dungeon and had also acquired the new sword art, which only time could tell where it would take him. Young master. A couple of guards who were behind Emmy and searching in the cave saw Asher, so they came near him. I am fine. I have given Emmy the orders for now. Follow what she says for now, Asher said with an indifferent face. As you wish, the guards were used to him as they always followed him everywhere. Asher left them, as they informed others who followed them inside the dungeon in their communication devices. Gareth, you take 4 guys and protect this dungeon until I send more people. Make sure nobody enters the dungeon until I give you guys the confirmation, Emmy told the guards with a serious face. Yes, team leader, the guards replied together. Ads by Pub Future. They did not question what the reason behind her decision was, as Emmy was not a simple maid that served Asher. She was a special elite that followed Sylvia, was partially trained by her, and was famous for her reconnaissance skills. This team of guards were trained under Emmy directly as Asher's security. They were all B-rank hunters, as this was enough for Asher, who would only travel a few times. The Grevels were sure that nobody was stupid enough to attack them in their own territory called Soren. Although Soren also had the World Academy, it was on a floating island, and only the portal dome was present in Soren. So, the influence of the World Academy in Soren was not stronger than the Grevels. Asher saw the portal and stepped into it, feeling a huge wave of mana rush towards him as he found himself in front of the temporary camp that was set up outside the dungeon gate. The rest of the guards had already received the news of Asher being fine, so they were not surprised to see him walk out casually. "Are you fine?" Amelia said. She was outside near the gate, so she saw Asher walking out of the dungeon gate looking almost fine. Asher looked towards Amelia with his usual indifferent face. Yeah, Asher's same indifferent voice irked Amelia, but she could only take his answer. "Where are the twins?" Asher asked Amelia. "Oh, I think they will wake up soon." Amelia replied to him. "Wake them up now. We are leaving," Asher said to Amelia. "Okay." Amelia turned and replied to him, but you could tell she was irritated with Asher. "Mean bastard," Amelia muttered as she walked towards the camp where the twins were resting. "Young master, I have arranged for security to guard this dungeon." Emmy, who came out just moments after Amelia left, said to Asher. "I will tell mom and dad about this cave and my plans for it. Make sure news doesn't leak." Asher's gaze turned a bit cold, but Emmy did not seem to be affected by it. "As you wish," Emmy was saying something when she suddenly got a notification about a certain piece of information Asher was looking for. "Oh, I think we have found the person you described to me weeks ago," Emmy told Asher excitedly. "Where is his current location?" Asher asked Emmy as he knew what information Emmy was talking about. "It says that the person you described is hiding around in Worms," Emmy replied. "Worms," Asher muttered. He knew that Worms was another city of Somaria, south of Soren, and famous for being the city where the World Association Tower was located in Somaria. Every continent had a building for the World Association, and for Somaria, it was Worms. "Bring that man to Soren, and make sure that nobody gets on your trail during this mission," Asher said to Emmy. This might be a bit tricky due to the World Association. Emmy stopped as Asher threw something towards her. "Take this emblem of the Raven family and make sure that he gets to Soren soon," Asher said. Emmy looked at the emblem that Asher had taken out of his ring. It was the token that could only be used by VVIP members of the Raven Guild. This was given to Asher by Alfred on his 10th birthday. "Okay, I will make sure that the work gets done." Emmy immediately disappeared, leaving Asher alone. Asher sat down and closed his eyes to assess the damage that he had suffered from the doping method. He channeled his mana circulation technique, and he could feel that the stinging pain was gone, but not completely. He could still feel a bit of pain left around his chest region, but it was something that would trouble him greatly. "Not that bad," Asher muttered as he opened his eyes. He found that his condition right now did not require him to take a potion to heal the numerous small injuries that he suffered from this method. "Lucas, Livia, get up, we are leaving," Amelia said. The twins, who had rested enough, got up without creating any fuss. Yawn, did we win, Lucas?" Livia yawned and asked Lucas if they had won. She looked cute worrying about the fight, even though she was quite tired. "We did." Lucas brushed his hand on her head, making Livia giggle a bit. Contemporary romance. "Come on, Livia, get up. We need to leave now." "You can rest when we get home," Amelia told Livia. Okay, big sis. Livia immediately jumped from her bed as she nodded her head quickly to affirm Amelia. So cute, Amelia thought in her mind, being careful not to speak out loud. Is bro out now? Lucas asked with a low voice. Oh, apparently, he also got hurt and needed Emmy to take him out of the dungeon. Not so strong after all, Amelia cheekily changed the story a bit. It was her form of petty revenge against Asher for his mean attitude. Is he fine? Lucas immediately asked her. Yeah, don't worry. He is outside, so you can see for yourself, Amelia replied to him. The twins saw Amelia leaving, so they followed her. Ash, we are ready to go. Amelia came out with the twins and saw Asher standing there, waiting for them. As they moved towards the location of their cars, Amelia noticed that some of their security was missing. Emmy, some of the guys are missing. Amelia turned her head and asked Emmy, who was beside her. They're guarding the dungeon on my order. Before Emmy could answer, Asher replied to her question. Oh, is there any reason for extra people here? Amelia got curious, so she asked Asher. You will know soon enough. Asher sat in the car as the driver opened the door for him. Amelia muttered quietly but stopped midway and quietly sat in the car. The car left for the mansion, and Emmy also went together with them. Lucas was curious about what Asher encountered in the dungeon, so he chose to ask directly. How many of those monsters did you kill? Lucas's eyes shone as he asked Asher. It was a bit weird for a 10-year-old to get excited by the thought of killing monsters, but being a Greville, being a bit insane ran in his blood as well. Don't know, maybe above 100, including the boss. Asher looked at him and answered. Wait, you killed the boss? And 100 plus F-rank monsters? Amelia almost screamed but controlled her voice. Yeah. Asher looked towards Amelia and replied. Don't joke with me, you are only F-rank, right? Amelia had her mouth open as she could not believe it. Asher took out the artifact he had retrieved from the dungeon altar and threw it towards Amelia. You really did. Amelia looked at the pendant, and from what she had learned until now, she could guess that this pendant was the artifact that Asher had found in the dungeon. Emmy, did he really? Amelia asked Emmy, who was sitting in the front. Yeah, I found the empty dungeon altar, and I saw many dead Rocketers inside. Emmy did not tell her about the missing body of the boss Rocketer. She thought that Asher took it as a trophy, as his first dungeon clear, as many people like to collect their first big hunt. Wow, Lucas muttered. Big Brother defeated those strong monsters all alone. Livia was also surprised as she had fought one Rocketer, and it was quite difficult for her, even with Lucas supporting her. Oh, you did well for G rank. Defeating an F rank monster at your level is something only talented people can do. Amelia patted her head. He might defeat Kevin and others as well, Amelia thought to herself. At the time when Asher dueled Elena, who was an F rank mage, Kevin was already a peak F rank who would soon become an A rank hunter. Being in the same academy with Kevin and Desmar, Amelia knew how strong Kevin was. There were other talented geniuses as well, but her knowledge of other geniuses was only from rumors. The car arrived at the Greville estate, and all of them got out. Asher was going to rest a bit because his body was tired, although he appeared fine from outside, but he was in pain the whole time. He looked fine to others because he was used to worse pain than this. Lucas and Livia, you guys rest for today, and we can practice more from tomorrow, okay? Amelia told the twins as they stepped out of the car. Okay, Livia replied, and Lucas also nodded with her. I will also go now. Amelia looked at Asher. Sure. Asher turned as Amelia left the living room. He still needed a bath because he was covered in the blood of the Rocketers previously. Although the nano armor was designed to make sure no lingering residue was left, if not for the function of the suit, the twins would have to travel in a different car altogether. The stench of monster blood was strong and was not a pleasant one at all. Asher entered his personal bathroom and took a quick shower. Every trickle of water that touched his body made his sensitive body react due to the small injuries all over his body. Although he looked fine, his body was not used to this type of doping, unlike in the past. He could bear the pain, but the nerves made his body react due to his unusual doping method. After finishing the shower, Asher lay back in his bed. It was still afternoon, and he decided to sleep until dinner. His body needed rest, and being tired, he quickly fell asleep. Asterisk 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 asterisk. The black-haired man lying down on a bed woke up, and his red eyes met the man in a lab coat in front of him. He was in a room full of equipment and some devices attached to his body, displaying his condition. "Are you feeling fine?" the man in the lab coat asked him. Fuck. The black-haired man grabbed his head. "What happened?" "Asher, are you fine?" The man in the lab coat rushed and grabbed his hand, supporting Asher in getting up. "Where is Lucas?" Asher spoke, still grabbing his head. Ads by Pub Future. The man in the lab coat did not reply back to his question. "Nate," I asked, "where the fuck is Lucas?" Asher looked up, and his crimson red eyes met Nate, who was just staring towards him. "He saved you. Your core was broken, and only he could help you." Nate's voice trembled as he spoke. His eyes looked away from Asher. And doing that, he sacrificed his life. Nate felt something stuck in his throat. Cough. Nate felt an overflowing bloodlust fill the whole room. He felt as if he was struck by a flood of water. He could not breathe and fell down to his knees. A rogue. Asher screamed as his head was bursting with pain. His mana was flaring, and its sheer pressure destroyed the many devices around him. Bam! Asher threw the devices connected to his arm, making them hit the wall and splatter into pieces. Asher, wait, don't move. Your body is still recovering." Hearing Nate's voice, the pressure on him eased up a bit, but he still could not get up. "Get Tom to get me the location of those people." Asher turned and looked at Nate. Nate was a bit intimidated by his eyes, but he needed to stop Asher. "Wait, everybody is still recovering from the last," Nate was speaking, "but..." "Shut up. If you want to leave, you can. I will not stop you." Asher left the room as Nate watched him leave helplessly. "I think we have made a mistake, Lucas." Nate sat with his back against the wall and closed his eyes. He was too tired as Asher required his constant watch during the recuperation period. "Too many people have died already, but I can't stop now." Nate remembered his brother Damien. Months later. "Wait, spare my kids," a woman shouted at Asher. "No, please no." Her eyes were filled with tears as she saw Asher, who was standing in front of her husband's dead body. Contemporary romance. Hehehehehe, and why would I? Asher's red eyes looked at the woman in front of him. "No, please leave us alone." The woman hugged her children, fearing the man standing in front of her. Bam! A blast happened, breaking one of the walls in the room, and a man could be seen coming out of the dust. Asher. Wait. Nate, who saw Asher covered in the blood of multiple people, spoke hurriedly. Asher turned, and his dead-looking red eyes looked towards Nate. "No need to kill them." Nate came a bit closer to Asher. "Stop right there." Asher raised his sword, pointing it towards Nate. Nate knew that he could not stop Asher. "Stop. Do you think she would have been fine looking at you now?" Nate wanted to stop Asher from killing more innocent people. Ugh. Listening to Nate, a memory arose in the head of Asher, making him lower his sword as an intense headache that could kill any sane person hit him. "Sir, we need to evacuate. 2 SSS rank hunters have been dispatched." Before Nate could look at Asher, one of their organization members wearing a black mask interrupted them. "Fuck, let's leave." Asher turned and decided to leave. Despite the intense pain, he could hear his subordinate's voice clearly, and he made the instant decision to leave. Hearing his voice, both Nate and the woman who was beside the dead body of her husband were relieved. Okay. Nate also followed behind Asher as they left the mansion that probably belonged to the dead husband. Boss, the portal is ready. We can leave now, a person in a black mask looked at Asher and said. Let's leave quickly. Nate was leaving but he stopped when he suddenly saw Asher take out his sword. Severing slash, Asher slashed his sword as he turned towards the mansion, and an arc made of mana left his sword. No. Nate was too slow to stop him, and he saw Asher's attack go through the mansion. Why? Nate could not help but ask Asher. She is dead. Don't ever mention her again. This is what I am. Asher's cold voice was heard by Nate as he watched Asher's back. You can leave my side anytime you want but don't ever try all this on me again. Asher's cold gaze stunned even his subordinates, but Nate only had a defeated look on his face. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Hoo-ha, Asher suddenly got up from his bed, waking up from his dream as he breathed heavily. He felt a slight headache, but it was gone a few seconds later. Asher looked towards the painting in his room to calm himself down. He looked at the clock and saw that it was almost 7 p.m. in the evening. I should go down. He remembered that he needed to talk to Sylvie about those mines. He got up and decided to change his clothes, as his current ones were soaked in sweat. He left his room and saw Emmy standing in the hallway. What happened? Asher asked Emmy. Lady Sylvie has arrived and she wanted to meet you when you woke up, Emmy replied, feeling a bit startled by Asher's colder than usual aura. Okay, Asher said, as he needed to talk to Sylvie about the mines. And the man you asked about, I think we can bring him to Soren in the next 3 to 4 days, Emmy completed her report. Make sure this matter remains confidential, Asher instructed Emmy. As you wish, young master, Emmy replied. Asher walked downstairs and headed towards the living room where he saw Sylvie sitting there, wearing a black suit. She had just arrived from the office and hadn't changed yet. Sylvie looked towards Asher, but her mood seemed off. Care to explain? Sylvie's voice was cold as she spoke to Asher. Asher looked at her with an indifferent face. What? He said. I heard you defeated the dungeon boss all by yourself, Sylvie said. Ash, I'm proud of your talent, but such carelessness could lead even a genius like you to your demise. For her, Asher was indeed a genius. His talent had shown his capabilities so far, but in her eyes, he was still a 14-year-old child. He might act mature, but in Sylvie's eyes, he was a child who would continue to make mistakes and learn from them. It was her job as a mother to ensure Asher understood the risk. I knew my limits, and I had the safety bracelet as well. Asher didn't want to argue anymore. He couldn't tell her that he wasn't a child who would make rookie mistakes. Sigh. Sit down. Emmy told me that you wanted to talk about something, Sylvie said, changing the topic rather than arguing any further. Yeah. When I explored the dungeons, it was full of rocketers, but when I approached the last 2 caves, I found out that they were filled with mana crystals, Asher spoke. What? Sylvie's eyes widened with surprise. If I'm not wrong, that supply could confirm our dominance on the mana stones market, Asher explained. Wait, let me think about it for a second. Sylvie needed some time to think. Finding a mana crystal mine was even rarer than an SS rank mana gem, and currently, there were only 4 such mines under the direct control of the Greville family, which allowed them to dominate the market. However, some elite families were worried about the increasing economy of the Grevilles, so they decided to band together to put pressure on them. This was the issue that created a headache for Sylvie. She couldn't outright remove the elite families, And competing on a global scale with some elite families interrupting their business didn't help them much. Tell me, what do you want to do with it? Sylvie looked up and asked Asher. I want to break the supply 60/40ths by selling 60% to the Abyss Guild and keeping the rest and creating my own supply chain, Asher told Sylvie. Make it 80/20ths, and you can do it. Sylvie stared at her own son as a smile appeared on her face. Her true nature as a fearsome businesswoman was coming out. She wouldn't even allow her own son to take advantage of her in business. She was called a demon in the business world, and her acumen for business was far greater than Asher's, who was a genius himself. You know that I own the dungeon, right? Asher crossed his legs. Oh, my little boy is so cute. Sylvie smiled at Asher, but the next moment, the motherly smile changed. But don't forget that your cute little dungeon is in Soren, and you don't want to experience minor issues, right? Sylvie was half joking, but the mana crystal mine was not something she would blindly give to Asher, who was still a child. Ads by Pub Future. She did not bat an eye at Asher spending a huge amount of 1 billion or for his personal use because she knew that he was smart enough to make something out of it. She had seen her son's intelligence in such fields as he grew up. Both Sylvie and Arthur would make Asher actively participate in their business talks during dinner and test him. 70/30? I will not lower it more than this. Asher knew the nature of his mother and her own talent in business and her capabilities as well. If he did not need some of his own independent funds for his future plans, he would have agreed with Sylvie. Oh my! Sylvie put her hand on her mouth, acting surprised and childishly. Sigh, alas, it was true that children cut off their poor parents as they grow up, Sylvie said as she wiped tears from her eyes. She looked at Asher and saw his same indifferent face. He was not one bit affected by her little performance. TSK, okay, you have a deal. I will send the contract to Emmy. Sign it when you receive it. Sylvie ended her little charade and agreed to a deal. Okay. I might skip dinner today as I need to continue my training. Asher stood up, and Sylvie also stood up. Training is good, but don't forget to rest, okay? Sylvie walked and said as she kissed Asher on the forehead with her hands on his shoulder. I will, Asher assured and left the room, leaving Sylvie alone. Something was off about him, maybe because of his first dungeon run. I should give him some time. Sylvie could notice that Asher's vibe was a bit different. She wanted to lighten up the mood, so she played around with him like that. Asterisk 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 asterisk. In a small apartment room in Vans, a man sat in front of his computer amidst snacks and a messy room. He wore glasses, had black hair, and an average face. He typed away on his system, muttering to himself. Less than manager greater than I am sorry, but we have decided to continue without you on board. I wish you the best and appreciate your hard work throughout. Damn it, these fucking bastards, the man grumbled. I worked on this project for a month, and now they cut me off like that. He flung a bottle at the wall. Ugh, I need to pay the bill this month as well. He stood up from his chair, frustrated. Contemporary romance. This damn world can't understand talent like me. He was exhausted from applying to numerous jobs and being rejected due to not being a hunter and a social person. Beep. He received a notification on his phone and decided to check it out. Less than Sarah greater than brother, you haven't called me in a week. Is everything okay? Huh, what should I even tell her? He massaged his head as he walked around his small apartment room. Less than Tom greater than oh, I was just applying for some jobs. I might find one soon and finally get some funds for my cute little nephew. Less than Sarah greater than I've said it before, but you don't need to shoulder all these problems alone. Have some rest. I'm sure it will get better in the future. Less than Tom greater than Sarah, I'll chat with you later. I received a work-related text. Less than Sarah greater than oh, sure. But don't forget to take care of yourself. Less than Tom greater than I know, take care. Bye. Sigh. It's so difficult to work for the World Association. He threw his phone on his bed. Why did I even come to this city? He looked up at the ceiling, remembering the time he came to find a job at the World Association. His application was rejected multiple times because he was not a capable hunter according to their standards, and his poor background did not help him much. Should I just give up? He looked out of his window and saw many people happily walking around. He was a young man in his mid-20s, but he could not enjoy his life like other people. He was jealous, but he needed to earn for his sister who was a single mother with an ill son suffering from a disease that required a lot of money and good facilities. What am I even thinking? I should just apply for another job, he said to himself as he sat back on his chair and started scrolling through job portals. Ding ding. He heard the bell of his apartment and stopped typing. Fuck, why is that fat bastard ringing my bell? It's not even the end of the month yet, he muttered as he annoyingly got up from his chair and went towards his door. Ding ding. Chill, man, I am coming. He shouted. Sir, it's not even the end of the month yet, and I have told you I will give the last month's payment next. He opened the door saying something but stopped midway. Who are you guys? He was confused as he saw two men with black clothes and glasses standing in front of him. Are you Mr. Tom Guylips? One of the men with a deep voice asked him. Yes, I am, but can I know why you need me? He was a bit intimidated by them. Oh, we need you to come with us, the man behind him spoke. What are you? Tom was saying something when he suddenly felt something hit the back of his head, knocking him out. Don't waste time chatting. We need to complete this mission fast. A third man with a mask on his face appeared behind Tom and was holding his unconscious body. Come on, I had one more line I wanted to say, one of them spoke. Make sure you delete any footage that might trace this man, the masked man spoke. Okay, both men replied. Sylvia had discussed the mana crystal mines with Arthur. He was shocked by her announcement. Even Amelia was shocked by what she heard. Asher was not here as he was training, so he heard about it from Sylvie. So, that's why he left those guards there, Amelia thought. The twins were just listening and acting as per the mood around the table because they did not know the value of this mine. But they thought it must be an expensive thing if they were so surprised by it. And you are telling me he defeated the A-rank boss himself? Arthur asked Amelia, who was eating her dinner. Yeah, as per Emmy, Amelia spoke. I already warned him to be more careful next time, Sylvie spoke. Wait, why? I mean, good job, Arthur almost slipped up. He mistook Asher as a battle freak, so he was a bit happy. Of course he is so talented, just like me. Arthur made a smug face in his mind but did not speak it out loud. He knew that Sylvie would not be happy about it. But I am surprised you let him off with 30% of the mine, Arthur said. HMPH, he would have gotten sad if his own mother bullied him, Sylvie spoke in her childish manner. Livia chuckled, seeing Sylvie like this, and even Lucas was smiling, seeing her. Amelia, who knew the nature of her mother, just shook her head. They discussed a few more things as the dinner continued. Nathan had already left and gone back for guild-related work. 2 days later, Asher was coming out of his training, and he saw Emmy, who was waiting for him outside. Young master, that person has arrived in Soren, Emmy spoke. What's the location? Asher removed his gear and put it back in his storage ring. We have kept him in the villa under the gravel name that was gifted to you some years ago, Emmy said as there was nobody present, so she could discuss it openly. I will get ready, arrange the car but don't take any security with us, Asher told Emmy. Okay, young master, Emmy accepted his request. In a big villa that was a bit far from the center of Soren, Some men wearing black masks could be seen patrolling and making sure no intruder could enter. Ugh! Tom regained his consciousness, but he felt like somebody put so much weight on his head. Where am I? Tom couldn't properly open his eyes, but he tried to make sense out of his surroundings. Ugh! What happened? Tom squinted his eyes as he looked around to find himself in a white room. He was tied down to a chair. What day is it? Tom looked around for some clue. The last thing he remembered was speaking to his sister and meeting some strange men, and now he was in this situation. Hey, is anybody here? He shouted, but nobody answered him. He had no sense of time, and he could not make sense out of the situation. Hello, why am I here? Tom kept shouting, but he stopped when he got no response. Did they find out? Tom's heart was beating out loud, making all sorts of conclusions about his current situation. Click. He heard a sound and saw a teenager with black hair and sharp crimson red eyes coming out with a woman with brown hair following him. Who are you guys? Tom hurriedly asked. Calm down, your name is Tom Guylip, right? Asher spoke. Yeah, but tell me, Tom was speaking, but Asher's cold gaze intimidated him. It would be better if you let me do the talking, Tom Guylip. Asher's aura was quite intimidating these days, and even Emmy could notice it. Asher knew about it, so he also skipped eating together with his family for the past few days by telling them he was busy training. Emmy, go out. Asher turned and looked towards her. Oh, okay, as you wish, young master, Emmy agreed and left the room. The room they were in was protected by soundproofing runes, so nobody could hear what was happening inside. Let's introduce ourselves first. Asher sat down on an empty chair that was present in front of Tom. Tom Guylip, age 22, a tech enthusiast looking for a job. Asher read out from the information he was reading from the hologram of his watch. Poor background, rejected by the World Association 3 times, no capabilities as a hunter. Asher finished and looked towards Tom, who was silently staring at him. What do you want from me? Tom looked Asher dead in the eyes and asked. I know you have the capabilities of a capable hacker, and I want you to do work on certain things for me, Asher spoke. I don't know what you think of me, but I am a normal software developer, and I have no skills for the things you need me for, Tom tried to reason with Asher. Even in the report that Asher had gotten from the Information Guild, there was no mention of Tom having any skills for the work Asher was probably asking from him. 3 times you have cleared the World Association passing criteria and have gotten rejected in the interview, Asher's words made Tom's face go pale. But if you look at this carefully, each time your profile was selected from the database despite getting rejected previously, Asher continued. Not so weird if you ask me, but strangely after your last attempt, World Association, for the first time, faced a spyware threat in their system, but luckily for them, they managed to stop it. Tom's heart rate was going up. Sweat was forming on his forehead, and his hands were shaking. The common public might not know about that spyware attack, but the upper echelon was aware of it. Although World Association is still finding the culprit, the traces were carefully erased. Asher stopped. I don't know what you are talking about. Tom knew that Asher's claim could not be proven. I deleted everything, nobody can trace it back to me, he spoke in his mind. I will repeat it again, so don't waste my time. You will work for me from now on. Asher's indifferent attitude and his cold gaze made Tom feel intimidated by him. What will I benefit from working with you? Tom decided to negotiate with Asher. Huh? Asher breathed out and stared back at Tom. Do you think I am asking you to work for me? Asher said. Tom could feel that the atmosphere around him was getting a bit cold. Sarah Guylip, single mother working miscellaneous jobs to raise funds for her son, and her only brother, Tom Guylip, trying to get into World Association for their world-class medical facilities, Asher kept speaking. Time it took me to bring you to Soren was a couple of days, and trust me, for me to kill someone, all I need is a few hours. Asher's indifferent eyes made Tom shiver. I will do it, Tom shouted. I will do whatever you want, just leave Sarah alone. Tom's eyes were almost tearing up. He did not know how Asher managed to find out his secret. He had indeed made a spyware, but his limited resources did not allow him to do any damage to the World Association. He did all this because he was full of anger towards the policies of the World Association of not allowing people like him, who did not have any talent for becoming a hunter. But after doing this, he was scared that he might get killed or arrested, so he decided to bury his past and find a normal job to support his sister. He desperately needed the medical facilities of the World Association because that was his only option to cure his nephew, but not being a hunter and getting rejected as an employee, he was at his lowest. He needed large funds, and he had no way of securing them. Let's not do anything illegal from now on, Tom decided from that moment that he would not misuse his talent as a hacker because the risk was too large, and he had no backing to support him. And he knew that carelessly going around speaking of his skills might attract many shady organizations that hired people like him. He knew that some of those organizations or rich families killed others after using them to make sure there were no loose ends. Asher clicked on his watch, and Emmy came in with a tablet in her hands. Sign the contract and make sure you read all of the terms. And of course, no negotiations will be allowed. Asher got up and left Tom, who was thinking, what has he done so bad to deserve to be treated like this? Sniff, I have to sign it, right? Tom looked at Emmy, who was confused about why a grown man was staring up like this. Yeah. Emmy gave him the contract. Tom took the tablet and started reading the terms, and as he kept reading, his eyes went wide with shock. Contemporary romance. I will get this much money. Tom knew what amount people like him would get if they worked for them, but the amount Asher offered him was 10 times that. Yes, and we will fly your family to Soren and handle their treatment. Emmy meant that Asher would sponsor both the hospital facilities and keep watch over them just in case Tom got any funny ideas against him. Okay, I will sign it. Tom hurriedly signed the contract, confirming his information and completing the required paperwork. Asher was outside, talking with one of the black masked men. This might be a bit risky, young master, the black masked man said. Don't worry, just inform me if anything related to it happens, but don't let grandmother know about it, Asher spoke. I can't promise the guild master would not know about it, the black masked man scratched his head. Don't create a mission for my request, just pass me any information related to it, Asher said and left the man. Strange, meeting Tom should have given me some fate points, Asher said to himself as he sat in his car. The host does not have enough authority, but encountering something significant enough to impact your destiny can earn your fate points.